place to be. Freewheeling on Discovery. Earth rolling by so far below. Just give her the gas and look at this baby go. We can't believe we made it here. So high above the atmosphere. We just adore the scenery. Yeah, Houston's great, but give me that zero G.
Hey, look out the window!
That's me.
Captain, I'm hungry.
Let's see.
Maybe we'll land at White Sands? No hands.
This is the life. Oh, what a flight! Earth orbit, we are here.
Discovery Houston, good morning on flight day 6, orbit 74. Your go to configure tips for KU and power on.
Okay, we have video down here. Are you ready to talk to WJR Detroit?
We certainly are. Go ahead, WJR Detroit.
Okay, WJR, go on ahead and talk to Discovery.
Okay, Discovery, this is WJR. Joel and Dana certainly sending our congratulations to you at this point in the mission, and big hellos from the Motor City.
Especially to Commander Jerry Lininger. Commander, you've certainly made us proud and happy, all the folks in East Point and everyone across Michigan, because of your participation in this mission. Is space everything you expected it to be?
Definitely is everything I expected. It's that and more. The liftoff was just spectacular, and I think to the people that came to the launch, it was more than they expected. And people were, from what I understand, just full of tears and joy and jumping up and down. And we had about 500 people from the Detroit area coming down to the launch.
Yeah, Commander, we know that you participate in endurance events like triathlons and marathons, but what's this endurance event called STS-64 like?
It's quite a bit simpler moving around up here than it is down on Earth, but I got to tell you, the other night we have a new extended duration orbiter treadmill that we're testing out, and I decided I wanted to run around the world, so I stayed on the treadmill for 90 minutes, which took us one orbit around the Earth, so that was my new endurance record in space.
Commander, your mission has been extended by a day. You now will return on Monday. Why?
Well, all along we planned on trying to get a 10-day mission out of it, but our power allocation was low, and so we've been conserving power quite a bit, and we've done well at that, and so we're able to get an extra day out of the mission, and that means we can accomplish more up here during that time.
Okay, Jerry, well, good luck to you. Colonel Lee, we'd like to ask you a question about one of those activities. This is your second trip aboard a space shuttle, and this time you're going to get to go outside, but wait a minute, there are no strings attached. Tell us about the Jetpack EVA, would you?
Well, today was a big day for us. It's EMU checkout today, so we checked out the spacesuits, we powered up safer. It's working just fine. So it's starting to look like we're actually going to do this on Friday. We're starting to get pumped up about it.
Colonel, how do these packs differ from the jetpacks that the shuttle crew used back in 1984?
Well, they're quite a bit different in design and also purpose. The MMU was designed to, go greater distances, go work on satellites, bring them back to the payload bay. It was also much bigger. It weighed almost 500 pounds. This unit only weighs about 80 pounds, has a much smaller Delta V capability or consumable that it has on board. So it's more of a life preserver than anything else. When we have shuttle docked to Mir or when we have a space station, it'll be our safety pack in the event that somebody becomes detached, allows them to get back to structure when the shuttle can't come and get them.
Now, there certainly is going to be an element of risk when you try them out on Friday, but you have practiced maneuvers in order to eliminate most of that risk. But my palms are sweaty just thinking about you guys out there. How do you feel about it?
Well, I'm not really nervous. We train for lots of different things up here, and we get up and we find, a few things that are different. But basically, what we expect is there. So we're hoping everything goes fine. I'm sure I'll be a little bit more nervous that day than I am today, but we're ready to do it.
Well, you guys look wonderful on television, and you sound good to our listeners here in Detroit. I only wish that we could hear a little bit of Max Q. It's a rock and roll band, and their keyboardist happens to be sitting next to you, Colonel. She's Lieutenant Colonel Susan Helms. Colonel Helms, do you miss the rock group? Have you spoken to them since you've took off last weekend?
Well, I'm afraid that none of the members of the band are serving in mission control for this particular mission. I have written a note to our lead singer asking when our next gig is. I understand that about 4 days after we land, we're going to be having a gig in the local area, and I'll be playing for my own post-landing party in Houston. In any case, I do miss the band. I know that as soon as I get back, I'm going to have to get right back and practice again because it looks like the band's really going places, and we're pleased about that.
What a Renaissance woman. Well, women in space are certainly routine now, but you're still very much a pioneer, and there are a lot of little girls who might not think too much about math and science because they don't know where it might lead them. You're a perfect example. What advice would you give to young girls who aspire to do what you do?
Well, the first thing I would say is to let those young girls right now learn that nobody should stop them from doing what they want to do. I think one of the things that made me get where I am today is the fact that everywhere I went, I had support from everyone that was around me, including my science teachers and my parents and other adults that told me that if I wanted to go after something, I should go for it. And the young women today who are in that position should have the same attitude, and that will make all the difference in the world.
All right, well, that's very well stated, and we heartily agree with you, too. Thanks, Colonel. Another colonel on board is the pilot, or at least one of the pilots of this particular space shuttle mission, and he is Blaine Hammond, a colonel with the U.S. Air Force and a NASA astronaut as well. This is your second time in space, isn't that right, Colonel?
No, that's right. My last flight was STS-64
And how does the Mission 64 compare with that one way back in 39?
Well, they're both long missions. 39 was 8 days. This will be a 10 days, so I'm looking forward to the extra 2 days. On 39, we worked shifts, so we had 2 shifts going around the clock. Here, it's a little bit more routine in that we all pretty much eat at the same time and go to bed at the same time, but it's a little more crowded in that respect because whereas you have 7 people split in half, now we've got all 6 people at the same time, and as you can see, putting 4 of us in a small space is pretty crowded here enough, but you put 6 of us on the flight deck when we come across a good Earth viewing path, it gets really crowded, and there's not quite enough window space to accommodate everybody.
Colonel, we have...
we call that a photo frenzy when it gets up there like that.
Colonel, we have a lot of pilots that are listeners. Joel's a fixed-wing and a helicopter pilot, and we have a lot of pilots that are listeners. Give them a vicarious thrill. Tell them what it's like to take that shuttle into orbit.
Well, Jerry expressed it as riding a herd of buffaloes. I think I could probably agree with that. I liken it to probably a high-speed Mack truck going off the pad there. It's really exhilarating. The engines come up, everything rattles and rumbles, and next thing you know, it counts down to 0, and it's just like the world drops away from you. And there's nothing more exciting than that. I've flown all kinds of fighters and airplanes and helicopters too, and they're all thrilling in their own way, but there's nothing like that lift-off from the pad. That next 8 minutes is a ride like you can take every best ride at any amusement park, I think we'll all agree, and there's just nothing like it.
And, Colonel, on the other end of the mission, of course, is your return to Earth through the atmosphere. So much for acceleration when you leave the launch pad. What's it like coming back down to the atmosphere? Can you actually feel it pulling against you as you slow down at tremendous rates?
Actually, the deceleration is so gradual, but on the other hand, you've been used to 0 gravity for so long, just a little bit of gravity really feels like a lot. And by the time you get back to just the single gravity, you really feel heavy and cumbersome. It was quite amazing to me on 39. I'm sure I'll feel it again on 64. Just the fact of getting back into Earth's gravity will be real weighty, and it'll take takes about a day and a half to really get accommodated back to normal gravity. But there's not really all that much deceleration that you can feel. We pull only maybe a G1.5, 1.8 or so at the max, maybe just before we land, but it's very, very benign. I was really kind of surprised on 39 that it was as benign as that, although, like I said, even just a little G seems to feel like a lot.
Yes.
Yeah, give my personal thanks.
I will pass that on to Bernie and the gang.